June 1st, 2024, just a couple of days away, we're going to see one of the most anticipated lightweight matchups we've ever seen. I mean, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, what a career over the last decade, just trying to climb up the UFC ladder. He's come up short from becoming the champion multiple times, and now we see him facing the one and only boogeyman, the number one pound for pound ranked fighter, Islam Makhachev. Some would consider him better than Khabib. Some might call him the best lightweight to ever live. He's taken out Alexander Volkanovski twice. He's taken out Charles Oliveira. And he wants to continue his reign this Saturday against Dustin Poirier, someone who's very deserving of the title, someone who's very deserving of the opportunity, but someone who, again, has come up short multiple times. I'm going to be talking about the UFC 302 card, which is, again, coming up in just a few days. But I want to go over a few predictions, some of the odds that I've seen come out, and just kind of discuss with you guys some of my opinions on this card. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe, guys. I'm the MMA Casual. I have over 100,000 followers across all platforms, and that's very exciting for me, guys. We've monetized on a few platforms recently, so I'm excited. If you're new to this, be sure to comment. Tell me how stupid I am. I love to read it and see it, and, you know, a solid you. So anyway, let's get to it. Starting off with the early prelims, and, you know, I don't know about you guys, but whenever there's a real card like this, I always check out the early prelims. I watch the whole card. It just takes up most of my day, really. A lot of people might not be like that, but things I do as a content creator and just a fan of the UFC. So I hope you all do that, because you get to see up-and-comers really perform. You get to see some sleeper picks and just the talent pool in the UFC, which a lot of people, when there's not a lot of names fighting, just like in the Apex, a lot of people don't watch it. But I think you should do the opposite, because you learn a lot and you see a lot. All right, so first off, we have Mitch Raposo versus Andre Lima. Mitch Raposo, 9-1 in his mixed martial arts career. He's making his UFC debut. Then we have Andre Lima. Those of you who don't remember Andre Lima, he's the individual who got bit in his torso a couple months back in his UFC debut. I'm going strictly off that fight just because he's fought in the UFC. Mitch Raposo hasn't. Andre Lima looked real crisp, striking. I think he's undefeated for a reason. And when you go back, Mitch Raposo has kind of a sus record, right? They've been feeding him whatever he wants, and I don't like that. So I'm going Andre Lima, and I think he's at good value at a -220 favorite. So we're moving on. Next up, this one's a tough one and a toss-up. And guys, when I say that, I mean, this is not a lock, right? Eileen Perez versus Jocelyn Edwards. I mean, Eileen Perez, for those of you who don't know, it's that chick who twerks from Goat Shed. Then you have Jocelyn Edwards, and for those of you who don't know, they actually fought backstage, and Jocelyn Edwards pieced up Eileen Perez before she got put in a chokehold by one of Eileen Perez's coaches. But this is not one of those matchups I like. Two reasons. I don't want to call them mediocre fighters, but lower level fighters in the UFC for sure. Haven't really proven themselves. And Eileen Perez seems to be in content creation. I believe she's on OnlyFans. Eileen Perez is coming in as a -210 favorite against Jocelyn Edwards. But I think Jocelyn Edwards as a +160 underdog is coming in at good value. And again, this is really, in my opinion, a pick'em. I think I am steering towards Eileen Perez, but there's no right or wrong answer here, guys. This is a toss-up. I don't recommend betting on this fight, but that's just me. Let me know what you think below. Mickey Gall versus Basil Chavez. And let me know if I mispronounced that. But Mickey Gall, first of all, you never go with a guy. You don't bet on a guy named Mickey. That's number one. And you got to go with your gut here. Mickey Gall is known for one thing, and that's beating CM Punk, which means absolutely nothing. He is a bit of a veteran now in the UFC, but has proven time and time again he's not all that. I'm going Hafez here, and I'm taking him at -325. I think he's a notable prospect. He has fought Jack Della Magdalena. He lost a close decision on that one. I'm sticking with him, and I have him winning in decision. All right, Nico Price versus Alex Morono. So this is actually a rematch from 2017. And the thing I want to note here is Nico Price won that first fight, and a lot of people might side with him again. He is the underdog here, and I think it's safe to say he's an underdog because we've seen more of a decline in Nico Price's career than in Alex Morono's career. And we've seen that Nico Price has kind of a sus chin. Again, Nico Price knocked out Alex Morono, but I just think that Alex Morono is the more technical fighter. And I think as time I think as time has progressed, I think we see Alex Morano making the right improvements and making the right adjustments in his fight game, where Nico Price has kind of come at a decline. With that being said, I agree with the odds maker here. I'm taking Alex Morano at negative 250. I think he's the technician here, and I think he's going to take it. Next up, Phil Rowe versus Jake Matthews. And Jake Matthews is coming in as the negative 165 favorite, and then Phil Rowe sits at plus 130 underdog. I got to be honest with you, bro. I'm sus with this fight too, and this happens a lot in the prelim, so don't, dig at my credibility here, but this is just a really tough fight to call because Jake Matthews is the real grappler here. And the thing is that Phil Rowe has been sus grappling, but I think Phil Rowe finds a finish in this fight, and I just don't know why. And I think that's the only way he wins. If this fight goes into decision, I think Jake Matthews takes it. But I have a feeling about Philip Rowe that he comes in and he finds a finish against Jake Matthews. And guess what? What it is gut. And I go with my gut. And a lot of the times my picks go my way. So I'm going Philip Rowe here. I think he beats Jake Matthews. And again, if Jake Matthews takes him down early, I think it's a long freaking fight for Philip Rowe. But if he could defend those takedowns from Jake Matthews, stay up, hit him with his strikes, I think we see Philip Rowe take a victory. And I know that sounds kind of stupid how I just presented that, but that's what I'm going with. Wait for the main card. I promise it's going to get better. Anyway, Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. I'm going with the favorite here, Grant Dawson. He's sitting at a negative 250 favorite against Joe Solecki. I think he's just a more aggressive grappler. I think he's the more experienced grappler. I think he's going to be super aggressive from the start. I think he's going to take him down. And I think this fight is purely fought back-to-back on the canvas. I mean, this is not going to be a lot of striking, in my opinion. I think Joe Solecki's in for a long night. I think Grant Dawson is just going to toy with him. I think he's just going to ragdoll him around the canvas, and I think he's going to sit pretty in a fucking decision victory. It is what it is. An exciting fight, and in my opinion, up to now, the best fight up to now going into the main card. We have Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopylov. I'm a huge Roman Kopylov fan. I mean, his striking is ridiculous. That guy is a dangerous fighter. And this is a pick'em from the odds I saw. I saw Cesar Almeida negative 105 and Roman Kopylov negative 120. I saw two more sports books where Roman Kopylov was the favorite and Cesar Almeida was actually the underdog. I'm siding with Cesar Almeida. Something about his striking and something about his history. For those who don't know, he's a kickboxer and has faced Alex Pereira 3 times, all 3 going to decision. He won one of those fights. Cesar Almeida is a dangerous guy, and Roman Kopylov, I don't think is going to take this fight to the ground. I think he's going to try to strike with him, and I think he's going to be very surprised to see that Cesar Almeida can't keep up with him, and I do see Cesar Almeida finding a finish against Roman Kopylov, and I hate saying that because I love Kopylov. I mean, I almost hope I'm wrong. I don't think I'm going to put money on this fight, but I take Cesar Almeida within the distance. Next up, we're starting the main card, and now we're going to get a little more fun. I have Randy Brown facing off Zaleski dos Santos. Randy Brown sitting at a negative 185 favorite. It's going to be a close matchup, guys. This one is up in the air. I will say that Randy Brown has the reach advantage. I feel that Dos Santos is the unorthodox striker here. He's going to be coming in with the loopy punches, the spinning back fist, the spinning kicks, things like that. I don't think he's going to be able to catch Randy Brown. I think Randy Brown is going to be able to keep him at bay, use his reach to his advantage, keep him at distance, and I think we're going to decision, but I think Randy Brown is actually going to get the better of the exchanges, and I have Randy Brown winning that fight, but that's also a close one. Keep an eye out on that. A lot of vagueness coming from me this card, but a lot of good matchups, to be honest. Next up, Halton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. I mean, this is an easy one. Halton Almeida, negative 290, and I love that for him. I think this is a lay and pray type of fight. I'm not going to go into it. Obviously, this is the heavyweight division. Alexander Romanov has a puncher's chance, just like any heavyweight. But I think Halton Almeida, if he proceeds with caution, takes him down. I think we're going to see 15 boring minutes, just like we've seen from Halton Almeida before. I don't think he gets caught. Of course, he's coming off the knockout loss, but I don't think it's going to affect him. Again, guys, I like him at his value, negative 290. Lay and pray all day. It's easy. Kevin Holland versus Alexichuk. Okay. Kevin Holland's coming in as a negative 275 favorite. Alexichuk plus 205. And I think this is my underdog pick of the night. I'm going Alexichuk. I don't trust Kevin Holland. I love Kevin Holland. I think he's he's fun to watch. I mean, he's put on some of the best fight performances we've ever seen. But as the more I watch Kevin Holland, the more I understand that he is extremely unreliable. You have no idea how Kevin Holland's going to come out. Kevin Holland could come out and look like the best striker in his division, or Kevin Holland could come out, have a clear path to victory, and absolutely turn and take the opposite route. I mean, this guy just doesn't do it for me. Kevin Holland is not fun to bet for or bet against. With that being said, I think Alexichuk is going to be the more composed fighter. I think he's going to be making the better decisions. I think we do see a decision here as well. Kevin Holland could end this fight early with his striking, but again, I just don't trust him, and I think Alexichuk is more of a fighter I trust. I think that he's going to be more composed. I think he's going to be more technical. I think Holland's going to be fooling around. He knows he's a fan favorite. I think Alexichuk is gonna beat Kevin Holland. All right, and now the last two fights, and the ones I'm going to go into the most in depth. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. If you look at these two fighters 5 years ago, I think everybody picks Paulo Costa. And now all of a sudden, Sean Strickland's a negative 205 against Costa, who's sitting at plus 170. Sean Strickland proved himself when he fought Israel Adesanya, and then he backed it up when he fought Dricus du Plessis, who's the current champion, who a lot of people feel that actually Sean Strickland won that last fight. I think Paulo Costa, he has the perfect fight style to land some crazy kicks and punches and put people out, yet he hasn't done it in like 5 years. When he's dealing with the best of the best, it's not that he doesn't perform, it's that his fight style doesn't land the same. It's not as effective. And because of that, I think someone like Sean Strickland, who's very persistent, who's very aggressive, and who's very technical, right? Because Sean Strickland's going to come at you again and again in the same way, and he's very defensive, waiting for you, just counterpunching. I think he's just going to exhaust Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa has proven time and time again that he has no cardio, even in a 3-round fight. I think after probably 7 minutes of being in that octagon, Paulo Costa's hands are down. He's trying to get fancy. He's trying to get the crowd involved, and I just don't think it favors him against someone like Sean Strickland. In my opinion, Sean Strickland wins this fight with small jabs, light kicks, and just points, small points, not necessarily a lot of damage done here, but I think he's just going to exhaust Paulo Costa, expose him a little. I think Paulo Costa will take all the punches Sean Strickland has to give, but I just feel like he's going to be a punching bag in there, and I don't think his crazy strong kicks or anything he has under his belt or all the secret juice he could drink, I don't think it does anything against Sean Strickland. I'm pretty confident. If all these fights I've mentioned, I think Sean Strickland's one of my more confident picks here. And last but not least, I'm going Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. We have Islam Makhachev sitting at a negative 470, Poirier at a plus 360. Islam Makhachev, that is the nicest I've seen that spread. As far as the odds go, I've seen Islam Makhachev as low as like negative 650, which is a little bizarre for me. I think this should be a lot closer. Don't get me wrong, Islam Makhachev has beaten Alexander Volkanovski. He's beaten Charles Oliveira. But Dustin Poirier is Dustin Poirier, and I think he deserves a little more respect. The guy could grapple. The guy could strike. He's been put in situations where he's gotten caught. But I think Islam Makhachev at a negative 600 is a little ridiculous. Because of that, I don't like gambling on this fight. And if you do, I actually think you should go Dustin Poirier because I think it's fantastic value. For my pick, I do say Islam Makhachev, and I do think he'll find the submission some way, somehow. But what I will say is that I'm not too comfortable with Islam Makhachev striking with Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier has gained the right. I mean, the people he's put out, the fights he's been in. I mean, Dustin Poirier has proven to be a very dangerous striker. And again, Islam Makhachev is going to be the more composed guy in here. I think Poirier is going to hunt for blood after a little bit. But there's always a puncher's chance. And that chance I like for Dustin Poirier. So if you're betting, I think you should bet on Dustin Poirier just for the value. But I do see Islam Makhachev winning this fight. And I do see him winning within the distance. So I think I don't like the odds, but you have my pick right there. I know I was a little vague with some of these picks, but this is a really tough card, man. I put my picks out for all of these cards. This is one of the toughest ones. I've had to sit down and kind of decide who I'm going with. I don't agree with a lot of the odds here. I think there's bigger gaps than there should be, but nonetheless, I think this is going to be a pretty good card. At least the main card will be. The undercard is a little mid, but we'll see what it tells us. Anyway, I just want to say thank you all for subscribing. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to comment. Be sure to like.